Саша, привет.
Здравствуйте.
Hello, Alexander. Hello. We continue our interview, and today I would like to talk about the mistakes of managers with some particular examples. That is why let us talk about these mistakes of yours. And you've mentioned that before your presentations, conferences, and let us try to mention them today. I've collected 3 or 4 of them. I believe this is not the pleasure when you share your experience, but I believe it might be useful for our students and listeners. Answer: well, this is true. I believe this is true, and our trainings are based on mistakes, and instead of positive moments, you try to mention your failures too, and this is a good introduction to the topic. And I believe that it could explain better how something should be done properly. Question: let us give a try. So you had a story when you had an employee and other managers that refused to work with him. Answer: exactly. When I worked for Intel, we had an employee. The guy changed different teams, and my team was the last one. Well, we've met together with the manager of his team. He wanted to dismiss him, and I suggested, and this manager suggested, to give him an opportunity to work for my team. He was a brilliant guy, a very clever one, with degrees, but he was not a team player. As the manager tried to give him feedbacks, he simply told that everyone in the team was an asshole, and I had nothing to oppose him, and I know that the guys agreed, but I have nothing to oppose him again. Well, my answer was okay, so let's give it a try. I worked for Intel for 2 years till that moment, and I had an impression that I should simply touch a thing and it could become changing its status, it could be changed for gold, because my team was great. We had our 5 o'clock tea, we had team spirit, and I was really sure that I could do this. Again, once we've met all together at our 5 o'clock tea, everyone drank tea. Team members had their common talks, but once a bad joke was made, and the thing was that this employee, this newcomer, couldn't beat the world champion in books. So he got insulted. Again, it was simply a joke, but he left the kitchen. He left everyone. He got back to office, to his desk. Well, I followed him. I went straight to the office and asked him what was wrong. His answer was that he didn't want to sit at the same room with that guys, because they didn't believe in me. They told that I couldn't beat the world champion, and well, he was sure that he could. Me, I realized that, well, it was really painful for him, and we can do nothing with him. No meetings face to face, no team building, no other activities. He simply left the company. He asked me to set some tasks, and he didn't want to join our meetings, our free time activities. Well, this is how I realized that I overestimated myself as a manager. I believe that for very experienced team lead or manager, I believe for everyone, there might be an experience that probably you're not acquainted with. And for me, it was better to give a thought 35 times, especially when there are some critical situations, because, the whole team was against this employee, but only me. I was the only person that was sure. Question. So, you mean that manager doesn't possess such specific gut feelings or knowledge? Answer. No, I believe no. People very different. People are very, very different, and you meet them, and you do not know what childhood they had, what are the adaptational mechanisms they possess. So this is a lottery, and it is amazing for me that people can work in teams, but they are all very different. Again, we have different mindsets, and I believe it's not relevant to the profession of a manager. Question. Okay, I understand that we cannot hold everything under control, but another failure, I believe it was in Novosibirsk. Guys in different offices, they were really proactive. They performed the same task, but in different languages of programming. What was it? Answer. Absolutely, it was an interesting story. We had 5 teams in St. Petersburg, in Moscow, and 3 in Novosibirsk. And 2 teams were very proactive in Novosibirsk and in Moscow, and at the same time, without mentioning, they've decided to write a script how to launch a benchmarking. Again, they write 2 scripts into different languages. As the result, during a conference call, they decided to illustrate how proactive they were, these 2 teams, and then the manager, the test manager of Novosibirsk, he was stressed because he didn't know what kind of solution he should take into consideration, because the guys might be offended. Well, he decided that we should behave honestly and we should do a comparison between 2 scripts. Again, there are some metrics to make comparison, and the guys from Moscow and Novosibirsk, they suggested different metrics. And of course, there are some impressions that something probably is not fair. They continued making this comparison, continued having these conference calls, and they decided to find a compromise to combine, to mix 2 scripts. 2 managers, 2 engineers were appointed, and it was a kind of a torture for them. Finally, they succeeded, and everything worked, but lately I've learned that they decided to choose only one from Novosibirsk, this version, because of course it's easier. Later, I've read a book of Robert Thompson, How to Break a System. He wrote a book based on his notes and remarks on different topics. And one chapter was about finding the compromises. There might be sometimes 2 decisions that are helpful to solve a task, and you need to specify and to insist on only one decision, because trying to combine a mixture 2 things, probably it's not the best option. We need to find some people who will work later into support, because everyone likes writing code, scripts, but no one likes to support them. That is why we need to think in advance about support, about promotion, and we need to find people who are really interested in that. So we need to find this way to be fair and to be able to find a compromise. Question. I remember there was a story. I understand that the problem is technical, tasks are technical. Again, another issue, another topic, how to not to have such situations in future when everyone works efficiently, how to make it efficiently, how to make and obtain the best results. Of course, it's better to find compromises to come to agreement, always. Question. There was another funny story I remember about a newcomer of the company who listened to some gossips about colleagues from other departments. And I remember you faced a negative situation. Answer. Absolutely true. This is the story that we should be very careful with words. We need to pay attention even on our correspondence, messages. I remember once I got a letter from Novosibirsk and I wrote a letter and I wrote there that please look at this, what our hot guys from Novosibirsk, what they did. Later, my colleagues had a conversation and they told that they were really offended by my words that I named them as hot boys, hot guys. Again, even if you go smoking, you should be really careful. You know that. Well, oh gosh, he made another failure. This is incredible. Probably sometime later, again, you could promote this guy because, now he works really efficiently, but your colleagues, your employees, they might remember these words. I had one such situation. We appointed a very talented guy, and I remember that I decided to share my opinion about some mistakes in Novosibirsk in his second day of his work. Later, I asked him how was the business, how it all went, and later he answered me, this guy from Novosibirsk made another mistake, and I was really surprised. I was shocked because we worked together for years, and this guy he works for the second day, and how actually dare you to use my words about colleagues? And I got really attentive to my words. I've decided to stop cursing, stop using bad language to colleagues, because you cannot control them. They are your own words. And sometimes I feel sorry. Question. Very interesting. Well, I've decided to divide this interview into two parts, and to conclude the first part of the interview, to summarize it all. As I see, you cannot control everything. Not every employee can be a perfect team player, team member. You cannot combine decisions of different people. You should be very careful to your words. So, Alexander, the question is, why should actually one try to build a career as manager? It's so complicated. Answer. Well, I do not believe that there is a job that could be easier. I believe every job requires forces, efforts, but you need to understand that this is an opportunity for you to make money. If everything seems to be alright, probably you do not understand something. You might understand sometimes that probably you need to obtain some new skills. Management is a kind of life. This is your work in reality. It is not suitable to everyone. Of course, it depends on people, on their personalities. And, well, I believe not everyone could be a manager because they probably couldn't enjoy the process. Answer: okay, thank you very much. I hope that we probably later, probably today or in a couple of days, will be able to continue our conversation and we'll talk about the independency. Okay, thank you.